Good morning, readers. Check that you're ready to learn. Today's learning target is I can create a movie in my mind. I want you to think right now about a book that you have read that also has a movie, but that you read the book first. So for example, I read several of the Harry Potter books before they were out on video or before I saw them on video. And I was able to really clearly picture what each one of those characters looked like, what the train station looked like, what Hogwarts looked like, and I almost was playing that movie in my mind as I read. So then when I got to the movie, I was actually quite disappointed because I thought to myself, that isn't the movie that I played in my mind. That's something different, and I didn't picture it that way. So I want you to think right now of a time that maybe the same thing happened to you, or maybe the movie in your mind was similar to the movie that you saw. Turn and talk to your partner right now. So today I want to teach you that if we read well, we become a character in a book. We read the words and then poof, we are one of the characters in the mental movie we're making. So just like I had said before, I had become Harry Potter and walked in his shoes as I was reading that book, seeing everything as he saw it. Right now, I'm going to go back and reread a little bit of Because of Winn-Dixie, and we're going to almost become Opal. We'll see what she sees as if we're right there with her at the Winn-Dixie store. To do this, we're really going to have to open up our senses and make sure that we really zoom in and read closely to what's going on in this page or this passage. And then the dog came running around the corner. He was a big dog, and ugly, and he looked like he was having a real good time. His tongue was hanging out, and he was wagging his tail. He skidded to a stop and smiled right at me. I had never before in my life seen a dog smile, but that is what he did. He pulled back his lips and showed me all his teeth. Then he wagged his tail so hard he knocked some oranges off a display, and they went rolling everywhere, mixing in with the tomatoes and onions and green peppers. Right now, I'm kind of picturing this goofy dog who's kind of like acting like he doesn't have a care in the world. Right here it says his tongue was out, hanging out, and he was wagging his tail, skidded to a stop, and smiled right at me. So here, this dog seems like he's having a great time. He doesn't notice that while this is all happening, everybody who works at the store is standing there in disbelief. And then down here, it says, then he wagged his tail so hard that he knocked some oranges off a display, and they went rolling everywhere, mixing in with the tomatoes and onions and green peppers. So I'm picturing all of those vegetables just all over the floor of the Winn-Dixie store. Kind of thinking of it as the Pick and Save that I go to when I go grocery shopping. So I have that vision in my head, and just seeing what it would look like if there was a mess all over that floor. And now some oranges flew off too. And you have this dog standing there just happily wagging his tail. So as you create a movie in your mind, you want to make sure to look closely at the words on the page and what kind of picture those words paint for you, but also be thinking of what things you already know in your life that might remind you of that, like that grocery store, and how I think of Pick and Save as my grocery store, so that's what I'd picture as I'm picturing the Winn-Dixie in this story. And thinking of, too, what kind of dogs I might know, and picturing that dog as the one that's in this book as well. Let's try some of this work now in our reading binders. Go ahead and open up to the first blank page in your characters section. Give me a thumb up when you've got that done. As I read the next passage from Winn-Dixie aloud to you, I want you to either jot some of the key words or phrases or ideas that come to your head that help you to paint a picture, or do a little sketch of what you're seeing as I read this part. I started in on Winn-Dixie right away, trying to clean him up. First, I gave him a bath. I used the garden hose and some baby shampoo. He stood still for it, but I could tell he didn't like it. He looked insulted, and the whole time he didn't show me his teeth or wag his tail once. After he was all washed and dried, I brushed him good. I used my own hairbrush and worked real hard at all the knots and patches of fur stuck together. He didn't mind being brushed. He wiggled his back like it felt pretty good. So in order to give you time to do some of this jotting or sketching, I'm going to read this passage one more time so that you have time to jot some keywords that came to your mind as you're envisioning this, or to sketch out quickly what you see as you are hearing this part. I started in on Winn-Dixie right away, trying to clean him up. First, I gave him a bath. I used the garden hose and some baby shampoo. He stood still for it, but I could tell he didn't like it. He looked insulted, and the whole time he didn't show me his teeth or wag his tail once. After he was all washed and dried, I brushed him good. I used my own hairbrush and worked real hard at all the knots and patches of fur stuck together. He didn't mind being brushed. He wiggled his back like it felt pretty good. Now let's turn and talk with our reading partner and share the movie that we created in our mind and what things helped us to create that movie. So today as we go off to read, I would like everybody to set the same learning intention so that we can practice what we did today. So today's date needs to be on this line. Don't forget to write the book you're reading. And then today as a reader, I am working on creating a movie in my mind. So readers, as you get that done and you move to your independent reading spots, remember that whenever you're reading, make sure that you're seeing the movie of the story in your mind and picturing yourself inside the scenes. Make it a great day.